I just round trip $700,000 of profits from the last weekend, and these were not the profits that were made from previous buys. These were the profits that were made very short term. I will be sharing one of the wallets, one of the loans. I also got liquidated. But let's be real, do you care about me? Do you actually give a fuck? No, you care about your personal situation, what will be happening with the market moving further, what actions you can take currently, what I am doing right now. I think you are more interested in these things, and I will show you one trick on how you can actually increase the amount of tokens that you have in different projects, in different tokens that you hold, without a need to inject new capital. We will be doing it through pair trading, relative strengths of tokens in comparison with how their pairs are actually trading. I will be sharing this trick with you as well. Without further ado, let's actually start. As you can probably see, I have a bit of a weird setup today, but it's alright. Let's focus on our BTC chart. Right now we're at 52.7k for BTC, and we were as low as $49,000, which is quite interesting. The indicator that I'm showing you is something that I was showing you in the previous dip, in the previous essentially corrections as well. And we see that we actually went through, we broke down the structure for 10x loans. We are way below that. We are at 5x loans currently, and we essentially liquidated them. And even 4x loans, I do believe that some of them we tapped and liquidated on some exchanges as well. And what's interesting about this chart is something that I was sharing in the last dip, that this line, this 10x loan line, is essentially something that we were holding through the whole move of this bull market, right? Because some people are already saying, me including, that we are actually in the bear market for the alts. Some people are comparing the current situation with 2019. I will share my thoughts on this as well. And the only reason where we actually broke through this line, and the only point of time when we actually break through this line, and we've been here for quite some time, was $16,000 per Bitcoin, like peak of the bear market. Right now, we are also below this line. However, for some reason, I think that future is quite bright, and I will share some things with you. And the main thought process is that the only reaction that Fed can provide, the only reaction out there to any type of old events, to World War III, to anything, and wars, they in general bullish for the charts. You should always be buying into wars, into the chart of wars. They are bullish. However, the only response that Fed can make is actually just print more money. And they're not going, to my point of view, in my opinion, they're not going to just let the market free fall before the election, because they're heavily controlled and manipulated by Democrats currently in the US. Head of Treasury is assigned by Biden as well. I do think they will actually continue, they will start to print money. What's interesting is that back in December of last year, I was saying that in the summer we should be getting a black swan, and around September they should start quantitative easing, money printing, which is a very interesting thing. Obviously, I fucked through my own projection. I was not de-risking like in the summer, things like that. I'm just holding all my bags, hoping that they will essentially go up, and I think they actually will. But it's a very interesting setup. I was saying back in December, they will start quantitative easing in September. And to be honest, these were projections from a range of market players out there. A range of market players were actually predicting that quantitative easing will start around September of this year, 2024. And as mentioned, money printing, they need the reason for it. They need to explain to the population why they are devaluing their savings, why they are devaluing the assets, why they are devaluing everything. And the reason is obviously largest market crash since COVID, $1 billion worth of liquidations pretty much today, Japan situation with Japan raising interest rates and forcing people to actually unwind their trades in the US economy, take the money back and bring them back to the Japan, right? Potential World War III with Israel and Lebanon and Iran. And the interesting thing is that Black Swan, I was kind of sharing with you, was about Israel and Lebanon starting the war. I had certain intelligence, you might say from Israeli government, right, that they should start war with Lebanon in the middle of July. Unfortunately, they were late for 2 weeks. I was not de-risking as well, because if you remember, I was saying that Lebanon is quite a small country. It's only 5 million population. It's a very small country. And essentially all these things that happen in the Middle East, I think it's just a giant market manipulation. And what's essentially helps me to understand this and to see this is Russia. Because with each and every point of time, where market needs certain news. Russia is pumping this news. I think Russia is the biggest Western puppet out there. Back in June, when we had the dip, Russia is pumping news that they're buying crypto and Bitcoin. Back at the local top a week ago, they're pushing news, pumping news that they're accepting crypto as payment method for business outside of Russia. Currently, in the current dip, they're pumping news that they're bringing weapons to Iran. They're just pumping news that the West needs. You need to understand these things. They come very, very deeply. They go very, very closely with each other. It's very important to understand these things. And why this correction is bullish? Because I think we had not just giant leverage wipeout on crypto, because like leverage wipeouts for crypto, they're quite normal, they're quite default, and they happen because market makers, they essentially just farm in retail. And it's easier to do in crypto because like less essentially qualified investors can participate in this space, and this space is much more manipulated as well, right? In stocks, they have certain repercussions, they're afraid of jail to some extent and things like that, so they cannot be doing the things at the same amount of, so they cannot be doing the things at the same levels, but still, we had a crazy drop in stock market. We pretty much wiped out all the long leverages, all the late longs, 30% drop, I believe, for the stock market in general. It's very interesting because even people who were trying to long stock market from the recent tops with 3x leverage, they are fucked. And let me ask you a question. Who the fuck is longing stock market with 3x leverage? No one the fuck is doing that. Everyone is longing with at least 20, 50, 100x leverage because the assets, they just move with very, very small percentages in the first place. I do think it's a very, very healthy type of situation, and I do think that the reaction from Fed should be coming, and reaction should be printing money, cutting the rates and printing money. That's the only thing that they know what to do, how to do, right? And it will lead to disastrous things in the future, but in the future, not now. I don't think we are ending the markets and ending everything currently. I think it might be happening in the future, but real recession should be coming when everyone will be euphoric. I don't think that like a lot of people were euphoric, especially in crypto currently. And the fact that people are not euphoric in crypto shows you that risk assets are not receiving liquidity yet, which is a very, very important situation because in pure euphoria, risk assets will be receiving shit tons of liquidity. It's very important to understand, it's very, very important to see that as well. And all these recessions, they kind of planned in the first place. What are they doing? As mentioned, they're just making sure to make retail poor, to take as much savings as they only can, to make sure that people will stay in the matrix and make sure that people will continue to slave away their lives. Let's focus on something interesting. A lot of people are saying that we essentially are experiencing something similar that happened in 2019. And some assurance, bros, you'll keep resharing the 2019 thesis. You do know that Ethereum went 70% down from the highs that year, right, and didn't bottom until December. Let me quickly show you what happened in 2019 and what is the correlation that we actually might be seeing with the current market as well, because it's very, very important for us to understand. This is 2019. This is the bear market after essentially the pump of 2017, right? This is the bear market right here. And we had this pump, and we see that this pump essentially happened exactly before the parabolic move up, exactly before the bull market. And people like Kobe, who pretty much made more than $1 billion in crypto since 2013, right? He's saying that the bull market did not start yet. And I was sharing some tweets like that myself as well recently. I do think that bull market for altcoins never started. I do think we're still in the bear market for altcoins. At least for the last 120 days, at least, right? So this is a 2019 situation. We see that essentially from the lows of the bear market, we went up as high as almost 2.5x per Bitcoin. And right here, we had our COVID drop. A lot of people are saying that the current drop is essentially a similar type of drop in terms of the liquidations, in terms of the stock market that we had during the COVID drop. It's exactly the same thing, impact-wise and things like that. And what happened after that, we all know money printer started to work and we just saw a crazy, crazy run right after that. But what's important, the question I think you should be focusing on is what are the tokens that were running through this run? And what are the tokens that actually continued to run during this upcoming pump right after it as well? I've spoken with some OGs, I've spoken with some people who were present in the market during that time, and general consensus was that new tokens that started to pump right here in this area, right? right here. They continue to pump further. So if you're sitting in the assets that performed nicely just recently, meme coins, I'm talking about them as well, there is a high chance they will continue to run further as well. It's very, very important to understand, because as mentioned, the only thing, one scenario for the Fed to essentially perform, to do, is to start printing money. The difference that we have with 2019, and one of the reasons of why I'm not buying this narrative, is because 2019 was not the election year and 2019 was not the halving year. And on top of that, we have ETFs currently as well. Some people are saying that ETF trades should start to unwind because a lot of people, they essentially invested into BTC and Ethereum. They're seeing things going lower, going down currently. It's very, very important how the market will be opened today. What I'm doing currently, I'm repositioning, I'm focusing on some assets that I like more. So I'm essentially repositioning my DGen stuff into solid peaks. And at the same time, I think what you should be focusing on is pair trading. Let me just show you one example. So let's check out the pair of Ethereum to WIF, right? So what you can see here is that Ethereum right now is outperforming WIF heavily, but you kind of can see this resistance line, right? And there is a high chance that we might actually go down, go lower from this resistance line. And even if you don't have like any more additional cash to actually put into crypto market at this stage, what you can do, you can actually reposition your assets that you have currently from things that were performing better during the dips into things that were performing worse during the dips. It might not be that intuitive in the first place, but it's a very, very nice exercise that OGs, that pros are essentially doing on this market. You were holding Ethereum, it definitely did not drop as much as we've dropped. You can see this history of outperformance by Ethereum, by WIF, by Ethereum, by WIF, by Ethereum at this stage, right? We see outperformance by Ethereum pretty much in the last week, and WIF is underperforming in comparison to Ethereum. What you are doing is, if you believe that resistance right here will not be broken, we will not go up, we will probably just reject and go down again, which would mean that WIF will continue to outperform Ethereum from these levels, which I honestly think that it will be happening, because these assets are going down, they are essentially going up as well, quite nicely right after. What you want to do is you want to, for example, swap your Ethereum into WIF, right? You can do the same thing with something like Solana and WIF. Maybe it would be a bit more intuitive. We can also see that Solana is heavily outperforming WIF at this stage. It makes total sense to take a bit of your Solana and swap it into WIF currently, because Solana is outperforming WIF. And we should definitely see that this thing, something should be happening with it. Even if Sol will just continue to outperform from here, it will probably form a higher low right here, which will be a period where WIF will be outperforming Solana, which definitely makes sense. That currently is definitely a very, very nice thing, a very, very nice exercise, a very, very nice action to do, is to swap your Solana into WIF. This is something that you can be doing with any type of tokens. You pretty much just create the pairs of the tokens and you check out what outperforming what. And what you can do is with things that performed nicely on this dip, which means they're probably heavier and things like that, you want to reposition into things that underperformed on this dip, that are down heavily, but maybe that's because they were like panic selling and things like that, which means that there is a bunch of retail right there, and which means that essentially probably these assets will be moving higher, like much higher, once we are getting our reversal, and reposition into these assets. And this is how you would essentially multiply your capital. You will multiply the amounts of token without an injection of any new capital into the market. It's a very, very nice trick, because over time, if for example WIF is right here and you see that, well, we're probably at this support level, right, and probably so we will continue to outperform WIF from here. What you're doing, you're taking some profits from WIF and you're putting it back into Solana, and this way you increase the amount of Solana tokens that you have without injection of new capital into the market. Very, very important thing. Let's go quickly through this sentiment, because the video is quite large at this stage. Fuck this crypto shit, I'm done. Emotional people, I think if you get emotional, you lose. Fuck this shit as well, the same thing, you just broke the setups, right? Printer is coming, not Jerome Powell. Breaking, printer is coming. This is something I do believe is coming. Printer is fucking coming. Position yourself. This is something I just laughed myself. I actually saved it. How to instantly feel better. If you're angry, seen, if you burned out, walk, overthinking, write, anxious, breathe, stressed, exercise, sad, gratitude, lazy, cold shower, impatient, reflect on progress. It does not connect to the current market, but maybe it will help some people, right? $1 billion liquidated from the crypto market. Biggest crypto liquidation in 3 years. Well, I thought that the previous liquidation was $2 billion, so it's quite interesting, right? But anyway, it's a large liquidation event. And what you want to do is usually you want to buy into capitulation candles. This is something that people who spend some time on this market are doing. Like they're not even buying on the dips, they're just buying the capitulation candles because this is where the largest upside is, just because of the fact that too many people are very, very emotional at this, like during these capitulation candles. Stock investors minus 8%. He is just very, very down. Crypto investor minus 80%. It is what it is. With some energy drink, right? Fuck. I'm liquidated totally. 202 million lost. Bye Twitter. Some people saying that this might be fake. I'm not sure, right? This is from GCR, who's essentially like a billionaire, crypto billionaire, who actually made his $1 billion for trading crypto as well. Well, you might think that it's actually quite like it might have happened because a lot of people essentially lost a lot of money. But 200 million is actually 20% of this $1 billion liquidated. Where they coming from one guy, hard to say. Have you even asked yourself how bad it really is? It's Intel CEO is quoting the Bible, levels of bad. So it's quite funny that Intel CEO is quoting the Bible, and I believe it's either one of the shareholders. Now it's over. Look at my CEO's tweets after that earnings call. So yeah, it's quite interesting. The solution, the outcome, the decision that we all have to make is sell at the loss, hold to zero. I'm picking the second one. Seeing all this blood, I'm almost bullish again. This is Gustava from Crypto Bunter, very, very good Memecoin trader. I do essentially agree with this as well, because seeing all this blood, we definitely like needed this. Because even upside, like speaking of Bobo, like upside for outsiders to buy in like at $80 million, at $60 million, at $100 million, it was not there. Like it was like short-term 3 to 5x upside. But currently, and if you think about that, like we had so many top signs with like Trump's speech not being able to break key support level, key resistance levels. It always was obvious. And as I shared with you at the start of the video, I round trip $700,000 from the last weekend, right? It's not 700K that were made like previously and I just had them, right? This is 700K that were made in the last 2 weeks from longing COG and from trading some Solana memes, right? And I round trip $700,000 of new money. Imagine like I would just take in profits on them and I would be able to buy currently with 700K. That would be just crazy. But it's still right. It's still kind of nice that I was able to make this kind of money in that short time frame. That essentially means that I understand some things and I wouldn't be able to remake them again. This Ethereum obliteration is largely caused by capitulation from large funds. Below are the sales from this fund denominated in Ethereum. Paradigm 46,000 Ethereum, $138 million. Grayscale $1.1 billion. Jump Crypto $60 million. While the other two entities hold no significant amount of Ethereum, Grayscale has more than $5 billion worth of Ethereum to potentially unlock. Crypto Bros, everything is going to be okay. The guy is crying from Game of Thrones. To be honest, I'm down bad, only wishing to add more. Buying the blood will be the best thing in a few days. It can go down more, but my investments are in good companies. Popcat with selfie. Very, very nice. Chances are 87.9% the bottom is in. This move is V equal to the FTX crash. You might want to panic, buy some crypto here. A very, very nice advice from my point of view. If Jump is actually fully exiting the crypto ecosystem, then this is one of the most bullish things to happen in a long time. For people that don't know, Jump Crypto is a market maker, quite well-known market maker in crypto market. And essentially they were recently unwinding, they were selling a bunch of Ethereum that they hold. Rumors were that they are under some type of investigation for crypto, and that's why they're essentially getting rid of crypto, right? They've been a complete parasite on crypto for years, and the industry will be much better off without them. Good riddance. Very, very interesting take. In the next 2 weeks, Warren Buffett will be back in the market. I honestly think that like Warren Buffett selling half of Apple stock is a manipulation in a way. Obviously, he would probably be able to buy back lower currently, right? But in general, like, it's just too obvious. Like, they're telling you. They're telling you these things. Why the fuck would they tell you? It just strengthens my belief that we are due to reversal very, very soon. World War 3 talk will fade away or get priced in. I do believe it's already getting priced in. Bitcoin will be pushing toward all-time highs. The Fed will hint at cutting rates more than once, and the government will start printing money because Harris can't win an election if the economy goes into a recession. Yeah, Harris definitely can't win the election if they will just let the whole thing to go to zero. Maybe some other people will be provided as candidates. We will see, right? But in general, it's very fucking interesting. It's very fucking interesting that in December, I was saying that in September, they will start printing money. Very interesting. And essentially, I just fucked myself over through my long-term view with the short-term noise of the market. Very, very interesting. I was saying in December, like, go check out my videos. I was saying that we will be pumping till May. In summer, something will happen. And in September, they will start to print money. This is something I was saying. Fuck. This is just crazy. And this is something from Ansem. Global pandemic and World War 3 a few years apart. Lovely hand we've been dealt here. Maybe it's time. Godspeed, fellas. Yeah, so to sum up, I think we're due to reversal. I'm holding on my shit. I think longing from these levels might be quite nice if you're entering conservative longs. Obviously, you might get liquidated, but it's just a very, very nice risk reward at this stage. I don't think they will let the markets to go down. The thing that they might do is to actually like let us chop through the certain like point of time, 1, 2, 3 weeks. But I don't think they are in the position to do that. And the issue that they might have with this chop is that they will allow for too many people to enter positions, which will essentially make it very, very hard to push the price up after that. And as mentioned, guys, as mentioned, you did not lose any money today. You gave them to the market makers, so they will pump your bags moving further. Change your fucking mind frame, right? Obviously, if you did not get liquidated on leverage. Unfortunately, I got liquidated on COC. I think I was liquidated on Silly. Again, I think it actually might start liquidation on COC. And I had like 150k profits on CAC like last week. Fortunately, I have some other spot exposure to AVAX memes and to AVAX ecosystem, gaming ecosystem as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. We are going to fucking Valhalla. Pack your bags, leave some cash, and see what happens. I'm just very fucking astonished that my prediction from December is actually right. I faded myself. Very fucking cute. Thank you very much. I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.